Welcome back to the 33rd episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy. 33 episodes. We've got one episode after this. I'm stunned because for two reasons. One, because it doesn't seem like it's been any time at all. Then we were on episode 2. I mean, it just has flown by. Also, it just seems very strange to me. Like now we're in a world that like a season is not 34 episodes.
No.
Back then, it was not uncommon for popular shows to have this many episodes, and this was, you know, complicated by the fact that they aired twice a week. I mean, this show aired twice a week, but still, if you look at a lot of the shows from the time, they had at least 26, 27, 30. Like, it was not uncommon. I'm doing a rewatch of the Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone episodes, the series that Rod Serling did, and those are 30 some episodes. Those first few seasons are 30 some episodes long. I mean, and that's just, it's a lot, which is amazing because they didn't have as many channels. They didn't have as many options, and yet they had seemingly less programming. But it was, yeah. I mean, we can talk about how old we were and what it was like in the old times when, there was only 4 channels and all that kind of stuff. But the fact it was just completely different. And the fact that nowadays, I mean, 34 episodes would be like a whole series. It doesn't even get to be 34 episodes some cases.
Yeah. I mean, now
Yeah.
you have seasons that are 13 episodes, 8 episodes,
Yeah.
they're a lot
So
shorter.
it seems like, yeah, it seems crazy. Now, we could have that because, most of these are two-parters. All of these are two-parters. So we've been reviewing them as each episode. I know a lot of places when they review these episodes, when they review these stories, they take both parts at the time. So that's one of the ways that we're different because we do every single one individually. But also, yeah, I love the fact that we do it that way just because I love the fact that with real time now, when we review these, we haven't seen the conclusion. Like, I mean, maybe in the past we saw it at some point, but as we're reviewing these, we have to wait, a week or so before we get to see what happens. So while we're recording, we purposefully made it so that we don't know what's going to happen at the in the second half, and I love that. It adds this sort of excitement to it. I love a good cliffhanger, and this is one of the shows that made me really appreciate cliffhangers. So I'm glad to do that. So if you guys are watching this or listening to us, I hope you're playing along that way too, where you're watching and listening to us episode by episode, and you, like us, don't know how things are going to end up necessarily. But you probably are familiar. Most people probably listening to this are probably well familiar with the show. So,
Yeah. I mean, some of these episodes I haven't even seen, so
what do you think is your ratio been so far as things, episodes that you remember and episodes that you've seen to episodes that you are new to you? Do you think it's a majority of
most
ones are new?
the majority of these are new.
Hmm.
I mean, there's been some things I remember bits and pieces of episodes I may have seen at one point, but for the most part, they feel pretty new.
Mm.
I have a feeling as we get into season 2 and even 3, because there's some stuff I remember we haven't come across yet. We're going to hit some stuff I remember. But you got to remember, a lot of these episodes I've seen, I haven't seen them since I was a kid. And like the Catwoman one we talked about earlier this season. I remember that one pretty well. Of course, I had the Viewmaster of it too. So, but that
If you're gonna
two-parter.
have a Viewmaster one of any of the episodes, the Catwoman one is probably the one you want to be like, yeah, I'll take this and I'll be alone in my room for a little while.
But that's why that two-parter is my favorite because I remember it the most. So, and
Yeah.
that's probably because I had the Viewmaster of it. So,
What's really awful, and here I am saying this as a commentator, and when we're doing these recaps and reviews, is that I did a rewatch of this entire series, less than I would say 10 years ago. And it's amazing to me how many of these seem like they're brand new to me. Like I just my unfortunately my memory is not as sharp as it once was, and yeah, but it's nice to be able to relive things again, for sure, because I'm sure I'm looking at it from a different perspective, and I'm noticing different things that I would have not noticed then too. And it is always nice to be reminded of some moments that I do remember. But as far as the episode that we're about to embark on now, um I this is completely, it felt completely new to me. As a Penguin story, I did none of this seemed particularly familiar to me.
yeah, and I didn't remember this at all. So, this is season 1, episode 33, Fine Finny Fiends. Episode
Say that
aired.
5 times fast.
Yeah, yeah, no thanks. I have enough problems speaking as it is, especially on my other show. Episode aired Wednesday, May 4th, 1966. So this is Star Wars Day, but before Star Wars, well, almost a decade before
10
Star
years
Wars.
before Star Wars,
Yeah,
people had no idea. We had no like, yeah, you had no idea what was about to happen in 10 years. But yeah, you're right. May the 4th, before May the 4th was a thing.
director was Tom Grice. I know I messed that up. Writer is Sheldon Stark.
And this, as far as I know, this is not based on any particular comic story. This is completely original, as far as I know. I've been able to figure out. So
So the episode starts off with Alfred stops in a fish store to buy some caviar. He has a handbill advertising cut rate caviar. Alfred samples some and plans on buying 20 pounds. All right, if you're listening to this and you don't know what a handbill is, like I was like, handbill, I've heard that word before, but what the heck is a handbill? It's an advertisement. It's a paper
then
advertisement.
it's an advertisement that people like on the street would actually hand you. Like, you'd be walking down the street and people would hand you this bill or this ad and say like, "Come to our shop, come to check this out." Yeah, that's why it's called a handbill. Not a bill of sale.
But
It's not like, here, you need to pay us. Well, we hope you pay us because we hope you'll come to our place. But yes.
it's not really a term we hear anymore.
No, I mean, now that stuff is done. I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, this is it's 1966. It's a different age.
While trying the caviar, the man behind the counter pulls a lever and an umbrella collapses on Alfred. He quickly gasses Alfred with a different umbrella. Poor
Alfred
Alfred!
gassed
He's
again.
gassed again.
This is at least the fourth or fifth, like it's fourth or fifth, right? I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Heck, it might have been more than that. But as far as I can tell, and I haven't been keeping count, but I think this is the fourth or fifth time. I think it's the fifth actually that he's been gassed.
Now, I thought it was strange that they just have the caviar out there and people can just go out there and dip spoons into it. That can't be sanitary.
Well, this is a criminal enterprise. What is health and safety concerns with as far as they're concerned? Not their main objective.
At Wayne Manor, Bruce and Dick are already in the study when Commissioner Gordon calls Batman to tell him about the Penguin kidnapping Alfred, Bruce Wayne's butler. At police headquarters, there has been no ransom demand for Alfred. Batman figures out that the Penguin is after the money from the multi-millionaire's annual award dinner. Each millionaire donates $1 million in cash to a chosen charity. Alfred is in charge of the food for the dinner and would know its secret location.
Yeah, kind of. All right, so going back just a little bit, when Batman or Bruce finds out that it's Alfred that's been taken, again, he's visually upset. I think Adam West does a really good job selling that. And Bert's right there too. And he's, holy Wayne Manor, Batman. I mean, he's kind of freaked out too. So that was kind of cool seeing that play out. Um, and Batman says that he was, that he deduces that Alfred was taken because he knows what the location of the dinner, but the fact is that Alfred doesn't know the location of the dinner. And Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, would know that he doesn't know the name because they don't even know yet. They're going to decide that in a day or so at the next like gathering, the rehearsal, whatever. So um this logically doesn't make a lot of sense, but we don't use logic on this show, so that's been
Yeah.
established.
At the Penguins' waterfront hideout, Alfred refuses Alfred refuses to divulge the location of the dinner. Like you just said, he doesn't know.
Yeah,
Penguin puts Alfred in the Penguins box, a device that turns Alfred into Penguin's loyal servant. At the
I
abandoned
have to say that during that sequence, it's hilarious. There's a couple things going on there. When we first see Alfred, being held, uh, the Penguins Mall, the woman, Finella, I believe her character name, played by Julie Gregg, is dancing around and or walking around showing off a very sparkly um, swimsuit. And apparently she's been promised that she will win a swimsuit competition at some point. So I don't know if we have that to look forward to, if the Penguins just stringing along. And then we cut to Alfred in the box, in the Penguin box. Sorry, I'm a hockey fan, so I think of the Penguins. I think of the penalty box in hockey, and the Penguins being there. So that was my first thought, but it's very different than that. Alan Napier sells that scene, by the way, where
he does.
yeah, he really does a great job with selling all of that. But Finella shows up and she's in a completely different swimsuit. So she, while they were moving Alfred downstairs to the box, she decided to take the opportunity to change into a different swimsuit. And I just love when the Penguin is giving Alfred sort of orders to what to remember, what to forget, that kind of thing. And he's got his little penguin horn that's squawking with every sort of order that he gives. It just is a really great scene. And Burgess Meredith is so good and compelling in it. It's just delightful.
Let's see. At the abandoned fish store, Batman and Robin discover a crumpled up piece of paper. It is the handbill that Alfred was holding earlier that day. The
Okay,
propri-
I gotta put a pin on this. Sorry. So uh so when they're in Commissioner Gordon's office, Batman's like, "Hey, Robin, let's go check out the." You know where I'm going with this, right?
yes.
Let's go, let's go check out the scene of the crime. And O'Hara's like, "Batman, we've been through that. Like, we went through it too. There's nothing there. You're not gonna find anything. We have been over that. I mean, our men have been all over that place." And Batman's like, "No offense, but we'll just check it out anyway, just to be sure."
Now, I'm going to stop you for a second because when he tells them no offense, he also tells them they're the best police force in the nation.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does. He does. You're right. He does.
And we got to laugh at that because we've seen O'Hara go not being able to find the right location to places he's supposed to
Yeah,
meet Batman.
it should frighten us all that that's the best, that they're the best, because they have not shown to do much competent things at all. So uh, so yeah, you're right. He does say that. I've forgotten about that. And so then they like leave the office. They get to the place, and the place is completely empty, except for one piece of crumpled up paper in the middle of the floor. And so so you mean to tell me that O'Hara's men got to this place, went through the whole thing, couldn't find a thing, and somehow missed this piece of paper that was in the middle of the floor? That was the only thing in this building, in this room. It was hilarious. It was so visually so funny that like I almost stopped it right there because I was laughing so hard. I was just like, yeah, this this is pretty obvious.
So let me back up a little bit. So they pick up the crumpled piece of paper,
Yeah,
open it up, and the proprietor is not a fish. Holy subliminal. If he's not a fish, then he's a penguin.
logically, that's true.
Batman answers a call on the Batmobile's phone. Commissioner Gordon reports that Alfred has not been kidnapped, but is at home at Wayne Manor.
So the beauty of that sequence is that while Commissioner Gordon is telling that, and Commissioner Gordon is beaming about this news, and you think, okay, he's happy that Alfred's back. I don't think that's it, because the whole police force behind him is congratulating each other on how like successful they are at doing
Nothing.
nothing.
Oh, man.
I mean, O'Hara's going around shaking everybody's hand. They all look great. They look like they're ready to go out and have a pint. Like they just look like they're ready to party because yeah, they cracked this mystery what Batman didn't. And I'm like, yeah, don't gloat. Don't do that. Don't do that.
When Batman and Robin return to the Batcave, Alfred does not remember being kidnapped or purchasing the caviar from the fish store. Alfred states he purchases the caviar direct from the Iranian embassy, as he always does. Batman notices that Alfred has an unusual twitch. Batman shows Alfred pictures of shark, octopus, and the penguin on the memory bat bank. Alfred
Prior
claimed,
prior to showing him the actual criminals that we see in the episode, he shows them two people first, and those people are producers William Dozer and Howie Horowitz.
oh, that's funny because we have Alfred commenting on how they look criminal.
Absolutely. So it's a really big, it's a good in joke that yes, those are the actual producers of the show that are listed as criminals according to the Bat computer as well. And okay, so here Alfred says that he has never set eyes upon Penguin. He doesn't even know his name. He's like, and what's he called? And Batman says he's called the Penguin. He's like, oh, that's dreadful. We know that Alfred has interacted with the Penguin before. Now,
Yes,
is that
because he
part of
went
the
undercover.
is that part of yeah, exactly. Is that part of the brain wipe that Penguin did?
Had to be.
We'll say yes, okay? We'll give them the benefit, Drew, of saying yes because uh that should be part of it. But Batman and Robin don't acknowledge that. They don't say, "Hey, Alfred should know who the Penguin is because, he roughed up against him once or twice before." I think actually the Penguin gassed him before in Wayne Manor at one point. When he gassed uh Batman and Robin in the suits.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
in
yep.
the suit of armor. Like I think he gassed Alfred first.
He's come
Uh
across Alfred quite a few times. I'm surprised he doesn't recognize him.
yeah. So yeah, we have to say that that was because of the mind wipe, and that's what tips Bruce and Dick off, although they don't acknowledge that. They just kind of silently go, "What is happening?" So yeah, it's a interesting little thing there, but I was like I'm like, come on, man. You know who he is. You know who even if you never met the Penguin, you would know who the Penguin was. He's been in the papers.
Alfred claims to never have seen any one of them while he continues to have the twitch. I thought he did a good job of having that twitch.
Yes, yeah. Napier is great. He is really great. He sells the Twitch. He sells the interrogation really well. He sells the whole like the process, and it's shot really well too. This is really well directed. There's like some creepy elements, like when Alfred's going through that, there's steam going on behind him and all these colors, and it just looks really, really great. Really well shot, and I thought was really well done.
At the rehearsal dinner for the banquet, Mrs. Cooper shows off a painting of Bruce Wayne's great grandfather, who she states founded Skull and Bones. I
Attended
had
Yale
to,
University and founded the Skull and Bones Society.
which when I actually had to look it up, I'm like, Skull and Bones, I should know this. So I looked it up and found out this is what I found out about it. For people who don't know, Skull and Bones, also known as the Order 322 or the Brotherhood of Death, is an undergraduate senior secret student society at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, the oldest senior class society at the university. Skull and Bones has become a cultural institution known for its powerful alumni and various conspiracy theories.
I think they've made some thriller movies about it too, if I'm not mistaken, or alluded to that society with it anyway. But I did find it interesting. I don't know. I'd never noticed that painting before,
I never have either.
so I don't
So
know
I
if it
wonder if
was.
it's just in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know if it's new to this episode, but it is interesting that it's interesting. Again, we get sort of Bruce's lineage. This is his great grandfather now. That he attended Yale. Yale's an actual university, not an actual like made up university, not Gotham University, but Yale University. And that he was not only part, but he founded this sort of secret society that, kind of leads you to think that, the Waynes have always been kind of mysterious. I like it.
Alfred Alfred is offering canopy to the guests when one of them finds a fish hook. It is a clue from Alfred's kidnapping that morning. Bruce and Dick sneak off to the Bat Cave to look for clues. They discover a building owned by not a fish company on the waterfront. Batman and Robin arrive at the South Pier discovering Penguin's hideout. It's a trap. Penguin pulls a lever and Batman and Robin are surrounded by umbrellas. A fight ensues using umbrellas like they are swords. At one point, Batman uses a fishing hook to snag the henchman Octopus. Robin gets captured by Penguin during the fight and hooked to the wall. Batman is overpowered by Shark and Octopus and is also hooked to the wall. Penguin douses the dynamic duo with knockout gas.
I liked this fight sequence a lot. The umbrellas kind of get in the way, but I thought they were used pretty well. They're popping up all around Batman and Robin, so they're disoriented. The three henchmen come out and try to do their business. And we get a fight scene that I thought was pretty compelling, and because I think the umbrellas helped a lot too. But I noticed that during a lot of the close-ups, it's actually Burt Ward and Adam West. So they weren't asked to do anything that traumatic stunt wise because whatever. But so I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, there's one sequence where it's really cool where Robin gets pushed, almost hits a because there's fish tanks with eels and octopus and whatever, squids or whatever, all over the place. And he gets pushed into one of those and almost like runs right into the fish tank and almost clips his elbow. Um, but there's a sequence where Robin is faced against three of the henchmen, while all three of them, while Bruce is handling Penguin. Um, you've got the you've got Fenella sort of trying not to be involved, but she's in this like a third swimsuit. style. This one is completely backless.
Oh, that reminds me. When Batman and Robin first come in to the warehouse,
Yeah,
Riddler or not Riddler, jeez, I'm on the wrong episode. The Penguin hides with Vanilla, right?
yeah.
And he I I I I was kind of shocked at this. He smacks her on the behind with his umbrella as they're running to hide. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, she goes to sneeze, and she doesn't seem like as helpful as some of the other henchwomen or malls, as I guess we keep referring to them as. Um, she doesn't seem as helpful as some of the others have been. She doesn't seem as intelligent as some of the others that recently we've seen are. Um, I get the feeling that if you were to kidnap her and put her in the Batcave with a lie detector or whatever, like you wouldn't get much. Because she literally doesn't know anything except for all the swimsuits she's been trying out. So it remains to be seen whether or not that her character improves at all during the second half. But yeah, she doesn't add a lot. But no, I really liked the fight sequence between them, and I liked that they cornered both of them against the wall. These big hooks came. Visually, it looked pretty cool that these big hooks came and sort of like attached them. One of the henchmen was going to just bash Batman in the head, and Penguin stopped him and said, like, no. And he's like, yeah, but they're still breathing, boss. And he's like, so they are, but they won't be for long. And but he's got, of course, bigger plans for them because we need a cliffhanger. So
Of course. Let's see. I got to find out where I left off here. Penguin puts Batman and Robin in the vacuum room. Once all the balloons have popped, that means there will be no more air for the dynamic duo, and thus they will suffocate. Can this be happening to the dynamic duo? How can they live? Will they be vanquished by a vacuum? Revive Robin! Breathe Batman! We will hold our breath for you both until tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. We
wait, not
lost
bat,
this.
not bat. We thought the
Not
Bat channel again.
yeah. We went
Wow.
back to the original.
Wow. A good catch. I hadn't noticed that. Yeah, that comes and goes. Well, I've noticed they're not doing the worst is yet to come. Uh, uh, Moniker, or they don't have that phrase in the cliffhangers the last few times.
Oh, they
So
haven't, have they?
no, so
Not even.
but we'll keep using it, Drew.
Yeah, of course. Because with us, the worst is yet to come.
Well, yeah,
Like the ending of last episode.
we don't want to get anybody's expectations up too high. So so yeah, overall this is it's pretty solid. It's what I like about this one is that it's a straight up like Penguin is out to do harm and to and has got a plan. He's got the means. He's got a great hideout. I love the look of the wharf and the sort of fish house that he's in. He's got different rooms to do different things. He's got a penguin box. He's got this sort of air pressure room. He's got all these traps, for Batman to step into when he arrives. So he's got plans there, and he's not trying. This is his third outing as that we've seen on the show, and the other two times he was trying to convince everybody that he was straight. On both those times, he was trying to convince people that, like everybody, Batman and everybody, that he was not a criminal, that he was actually, reformed. And then, of course, we find out that he's not. But here, he's not. There's no pretense. He's just straight up like, I'm just gonna go. I just want to get the millions. I want to get that $12 million. I remember Alfred. Alfred might not be remember me, but I remember him, so I know that he's the key. So if I grab him and put the whammy on him, then he can lead me to the 12 million. Of course, Batman's going to get in the way. and I'm prepared for him. I mean, he just seems more cunning and more relentless in this storyline than we've seen him before.
Yeah.
And Burgess Meredith is just great.
Well, if you think about it, this is one of the biggest payouts we've seen so far.
Oh
12
yeah,
million.
yeah, that is pretty big.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot at
because
stake here. And this is cat.
the
They're
last two
supposed to have
episodes,
it in cash.
the last two episodes, Riddler was just excited for 1 million, and here Penguin's going for 12. You know, so yeah, there's a lot to like here, at least in the first part. So I don't recall the second part, so I don't know how they're going to get out of it. Probably something. I mean, this is the first time. This seems like the first time in a while we've seen both Batman and Robin kind of trapped somewhere. They do have
Yeah,
their.
because it was Robin, just Robin alone the last couple times. We had the clock tower
Yep.
or the clock it was yeah, the clock tower with the bell. And then
Hmm.
we had Robin almost being sawed in half.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
they have their utility belts. I don't, he's kind of tied up, so I don't know if he has access to it or not. So I don't know what the plan is going to be. I mean, some of these, resolutions for these cliffhangers have been, disappointing in a lot of ways because they're just too outrageous and corny. But, um, but
This one they could just pull out their oxygen masks from their utility belts and put them on.
and I must say, visually, with them there and the balloons bursting, even though the music is rising and Penguin is squawking and everything like that, I don't I don't sense the danger. I mean, it doesn't feel near as dangerous. I mean, the last cliffhanger we had, Robin was strapped to a table and he was going towards a buzzsaw. I mean, that's pretty disturbing.
Yes.
This one doesn't feel quite as disturbing, which is fine. But I don't really get the sense that they are in a lot of danger. But I do find it interesting that Batman is aware still, but Robin is passed out next to him. So I don't think Robin's going to be too much help with whatever we're doing. I would love during the course of this show, and I don't know if it ever happens, but I would love to see Robin either get out of one of these by himself or at least have a big clue as to how to get out of them, because I just would love to see that, have Robin have a moment like that. Um, we're going to get to the point in the series where I think it's well known that behind the scenes, Adam and Bert did not get along or see eye to eye on things. So there was a lot of contention behind the scenes. And so I would imagine that Adam tried to make it uh make a point to have it so that Batman would save them every time. But we'll see if that happens. I would certainly love to see Robin get some get some props for doing something, but we'll see. I certainly don't expect that to happen next week, and I don't expect it to happen this soon in the run, but if at all. But it was pretty. Well, I do know later on when we get Batgirl, she does save them a couple times. So I'd like to see Robin kind of save somebody. If we're gonna get Batgirl to have that agency, I would love to see Robin get that sort of agency as well. But all in all, it's not. It's a good first part, and I love the Penguin episodes, and he's just great. And I love this side of him. I love the fact that he's not trying to convince anybody of anything. He's just out to do criminal stuff.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. Long before we did our little podcast here, which is not that long ago. I mean, we just started it this year. But long time ago, there was a podcast by John S. Drew, who, in my mind, did probably one of the definitive looks at this series. And he did a series of podcasts called the Batcave podcast, and it's still available. You can see, you can get a broke down each season, 1, 2, and 3, like each of the episodes. Or he didn't do it like we're doing it with episode by episode, but story by story. So he combined them, but they are really good. I mean, John knows a lot about the series. I've been on a couple of panels with him. As a matter of fact, I've been on a Batman panel with him at Dragon Con at 8:30 in the morning on a Monday or Sunday, and which was not great, but yet he was great on it. He is a great resource. I don't think he produces any new episodes of the Batcave podcast. I could be wrong about that. Maybe every once in a while when there's something new to report, I think he might do something. I think the last episode they did covered the Blu-ray release of the Filmation series. And but we'll have a link in our show notes to the Batcave podcast website. You can check it out there. And I think right now, if you're interested in Doctor Who, like I am, he and um, Jim Beard are actually producing a Doctor Who podcast where they're looking at every storyline of Doctor Who from the beginning to current. So, yeah, John is a great colleague, and I definitely encourage people to, if they want to know more about, Bat shows or this show in particular, Batman and this series, as well as other stuff regarding Batman, to check out the Batcave podcast.
All right. And for my shout out, I'm going to shout out about my show, the Earth Station DCU podcast, where we review DC news, DC comics, and DC television shows and movies every week. And right now, one of the things we are reviewing is the Penguin miniseries by Tom King, which has been really good. And
Ah,
so I don't know if you guys know what's going on in comics with Penguin, but supposedly he got killed and Batman was kind of blamed for it. So this is his kids kind of took over the Iceberg Lounge, and he is making a comeback because he
I
didn't
didn't know he
really
had
die.
kids.
He kind of retired for a while, and now he's coming back.
Gotcha.
So yeah, the story's been really good. So that's one thing we've been reviewing.
I do know that that they recently released on Max a
Hmm.
preview of the Penguins series, a mini series. It's going to be on Max, and that's going to feature Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, who they never referred to the Penguin on the '60s show as Oswald Cobblepot. But yeah, I thought Colin did an amazing job in the Batman movie, and this is a spin-off of that. So I am definitely going to be watching that when it hits Max, and I think
Oh yeah,
that is in September. So
yes, it's in
although
September. We will be reviewing it. Cletus is very excited about it. He's been excited about it since it's been announced. I've been
good,
excited about it too, but I think he's been a little more excited about it than me. So
or depending on when you're listening to this, we might have already reviewed it. They might have already reviewed
that's true.
it. Because we are a little bit of ahead of schedule as far as banked episodes. So, but yeah. So speaking of the Penguin, if you're a Penguin fan, definitely check out that Max series.
Yep, for sure. All right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Leave us a message, text us, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right. You ready to get out of here, Batchum?
Sure thing. BatChums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
See, the show might not do it, but we'll do it. We'll say
You
same
got
bad
it.
time, same bad channel, and we'll also say, don't worry, the worst is yet to come.
And it might.